Përshëndetje të nderuar shikues, po vazhdojmë emisionin me një bisedë me ambasadoren e shtetit të Izraelit në Kosovë, zonjën Tamar Ziv. Mrs. Ambassador, welcome.
Thank you.
During your visit in Kosovo this time, you announced the decision for visa waivering decision from Israeli government. Can you tell us more about this process and when will citizens of Kosovo be able to travel with visa-free to Israel?
Well, hi Leka, and thank you for having me on your show again. Yes, we're very pleased to have been able to announce the visa waiver for the citizens of Kosovo. This is a result of intensive work that has been done by the Israeli government, by your Chargé d'Affaires in the Embassy of Kosovo in Jerusalem, and it resulted in this decision. Now it's more a technical process of having the agreement agreed upon by both sides. I don't see any issues there, and after that the two sides will decide on a date for implementation. I believe it'll be in the next few months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, no, I was asking more about the following process also, because citizens of Kosovo faced a very long process of visa liberalization with Schengen zone. So when it comes to visas, it also, and the process of waivering, it also comes with a timeline request. So would it take years, you think, or less?
No. As I said, I think it's a matter of months, not more. Yeah.
Yes. On your announcement, you also considered that it is a big step and a very important one in between relations of our two countries. So, in more details, what impact do you consider that it will have?
Well, as you know, Israel and Kosovo are now celebrating their third anniversary of diplomatic relations, which were established in February of 2021. And since then, both sides have been working on, enhancing the relationship on the political level, on the agreement level, on the cultural level, on the economic level, etc. And I think that this visa liberalization will fast forward this process because it'll be much easier for, Kosovan nationals to visit Israel without the need of a visa. I think that it will definitely enhance, the economic relations between the countries, making travel easy. I think it will enhance the cultural relations between the countries because people will be able to go back and forth. Tourism is an especially important component in relations between countries, and we hope to see many, many more Kosovan tourists in Israel and Israeli tourists in Kosovo. And basically, this enables people-to-people relations. This enables the easy encounter of people with one another. And that's basically, what we want when we establish relations with countries is for the peoples to interact and to find each one in his own fields for cooperation. So once you eliminate a barrier or something that makes the process more complicated, then of course you open the way for cooperation in many more areas than you did before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and by this, as you mentioned, so for Kosovar citizens and tourists to go to Israel, in this regard now the travel might be also an issue. Are there any steps to establish, let's say, perhaps direct flights from Pristina to Tel Aviv?
Well, direct flights is always an economic consideration for the flight companies. We, of course, are interested in a direct flight, and we would be happy if, an Israeli company or maybe a charter company would think that there is enough economic potential for at least, let's say, in the season from March to October to be able to open such a route. I know that the Chargé d'Affaires of Kosovo and Israel, Ines Demiri, is working on this, and she's trying to advance to encourage Israeli companies to check this possibility. And we're all for it. I really hope that this will happen because I think the flight distance is about 2.5 hours between our countries, which is really nothing. And when you go, through Vienna or through Istanbul or through other destinations, it takes many more hours than that. So I really hope that this will happen as well.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador, as you mentioned, this week also marks the 3rd anniversary of establishing mutual diplomatic relations in general, and perhaps then to talk about more in specific fields. At what stage do you consider that our relations of Israel and Kosovo now?
Well, I think that we've accomplished a lot in these last 3 years. I think that, on the political level, we've had many ministerial visits throughout the years. I think in both directions we're counting about 9 or 10 visits throughout the years, and each visit like this advances a specific field in the relations, like the economy and trade and agriculture and education and so on. So, we set out with this. We've created quite a few agreements between the countries, and we're still working on additional agreements to be signed in the future. We've had quite a bit of intercultural exchange when we've had a big theater group that came to Kosova for the Fem Art Festival last year. We had a very nice participation of Israeli filmmakers in the Pristina Film Festival that was here in September. We had a group of 12 filmmakers that came here, and this was a result of the co-production agreement which was signed between the countries and ratified, and now basically filmmakers from both sides can create a cooperation, can create films together, which I think is amazing, because through films people get to know the other's culture, the other's views, the nature, the customs, the food, and this is a great way for people to get to know each other. We're working on cooperation in the field of health, in the field of education, in agriculture. So, I think we've been treading quite a long road, and the potential is still very vast. There's still a lot that we can still do, but I think that for 3 years we've really done quite a bit.
Yes, and what would you consider now is the focus in between the relations of two countries?
Well, I think continuing to enhance the relations in all the fields that I already mentioned. I think there's a lot to do in economy, there's a lot to do in bringing business people together. I think the two economies don't know each other well enough yet. The Israeli business community does not know enough of Kosovo's potential, and I think that the Kosovan business community doesn't know enough of Israel's, Israeli businesses, Israeli businessmen. There were already 2 Kosovan business delegations in Israel over the past 3 years. We're interested in bringing an Israeli delegation here. We were intending to do that at the end of last year, but unfortunately, because of the war, this was postponed. But we're planning on a business delegation in the next few months. And as I said, continuing with the, signing additional agreements of cooperation between the countries in more fields, in economic fields, and so on. There's really a lot to do.
Yes. We cannot avoid the current situation in Israel and the region, and it changed, of course, when October 7 attacks happened. But still now the war is ongoing. What is the situation now?
Well, as you know, the 7th of October was the most traumatic day for Jews in the world since the Holocaust. Never in one day have more than 1,200 people been viciously murdered, slaughtered, attacked. As you know, the Hamas infiltrated Israel with more than 3,000 terrorists that entered Israel simultaneously from various points along the fence between Israel and Gaza, attacking quiet civilian villages, kibbutzim, which are agricultural communities, cities, barbarically murdering children, babies, men, women, elderly, taking more than 240 people hostage, among them babies, children, young people, old people, Holocaust survivors. And as a result of this horrific attack, Israel, who at the time was thinking of, enhancing the relations with the Gaza Strip, we were on the point of having 18,000 Palestinian workers coming into Israel in order to be able to, bring money home for their families. We were in the stage of having different economic projects going for the Gaza Strip, etc. So at this point, war was waged on us, and we had no choice but to react. And a few weeks after this attack, Israel began its ground maneuver inside the Gaza Strip. The goal of this maneuver is to dismantle Hamas's military capabilities and to free the hostages that Hamas is still holding in the Gaza Strip. Our war is not with the Palestinian people. We're sorry for every civilian that is hurt during the fighting. We do not target civilians. We target Hamas infrastructure, Hamas terrorists, but unfortunately it's the Hamas's strategy to make the Palestinian people their human shields. And as a result of that, unfortunately, civilians are being hurt. But our goal is to fight until we dismantle Hamas from its military capabilities and enable security for Israel on the border with the Gaza Strip.
Mm. And there are also diplomatic efforts ongoing and negotiations on hostage release and the end of war. At what stage are they now, and is there a deal perhaps about to be reached soon?
We hope so. These are very high-level talks that are taking place. Just this week, at the beginning of the week, there was a very high-level meeting between the director of the CIA, the head of the Egyptian security, the Prime Minister of Qatar, and the heads of the Israeli Mossad and Shin Bet, in order to try and arrive at some kind of negotiations with the Hamas. The Hamas's stance is very extreme. They demand demands that are impossible to accept. I really pray that these very high-level officials from the different countries will manage to convince the Hamas to go for a deal. It's clear that in this type of deal, there would be a ceasefire for a certain period of time, and there would be exchange of hostages for Hamas terrorists, which is a very heavy price to pay to release terrorists. But at this point, we're trying to do everything in our power in order to get these people home. They've suffered and are suffering tremendously. Every day that they're in Hamas' hands is a real danger to their lives. Just about 10 days ago, there was supposed to be a deal in which we enabled a huge amount of medical supplies to come into the Gaza Strip, and we were supposed to be able to have medications transferred to our hostages. We have no idea if these medications were given to them. The Red Cross has not been allowed to see any of the hostages since the day that they were taken hostage, and they're completely inhumane, and we're very, very concerned with their lives. There are people there that are elderly. There are more than 10 people in hostage that are over 75 years old. There are still 2 babies and children that are there. There are young women that we know that were raped, and men as well. And every day is one day too much.
I want to bring back the subject also in regard of relations of our two countries. Kosovo is continuing the efforts for its international subjectivity and applying to become full member of many international organizations and bodies. Where does Israel stand on this, and will Israel support our country's memberships?
Well, we've said more than once that once there's something concrete, then we'd be happy to discuss it with you.
And in more, perhaps we are about to end the interview, but I would like also to mention a personality, a professor that passed away recently and that have given a large contribution in our country. So no doubt that a major contribution in establishing the psychology department at the University of Pristina gave late Professor Moshe Lanzmann. Only a few months before his passing, he was honored by our Ministry of Education for all his work and enormous contribution. On a personal level, what were his thoughts about our country, if there is something that you would share with us?
Well, I must say that the passing of Dr. Lanzmann is a very, very sad event. He was extremely loved and valued by the people of Kosovo. I know that he loved Kosovo. He fell in love with Kosovo during the war here. And he arrived here, if I'm not mistaken, with a joint. Saw the situation here after the war and decided to dedicate his life to help the people of Kosova build up their mental and psychological resilience. He helped establish the Faculty of Psychology in the University of Pristina. And from what I've heard from psychologists here, he educated and trained more than 1,000 psychologists over the years. He helped establish the Center for Autism here in Kosovo. I know that he also gave therapy to many, many people here who went through traumas here. And I know that, having invested 30 years of his life in Kosovo, I think is the best sign of his love and his dedication to this country. And we're extremely proud of his achievements and so happy that he touched so many people here over the years.
Yes, Ambasadore Ziv, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Të nderuar shikues, këtu edhe po përfundojmë bisedën me ambasadoren e shtetit të Izraelit në Kosovë, zonjën Tamar Ziv. Ju falenderojmë për vëmendjen dhe vazhdoni të qëndroni me programin tonë.